Taking off out of Cooper's Branch here. This footage is from last Friday, March 27th. This was an absolute grinder of a day. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, except for the part where we put some fish in the boat. So there's a little delay on me getting this video out, but it's out now, and this cashes in on the promise I made last video. They were hammering the lizard, and even though I only got one in the boat on it last time, that changes today. So we start up in Stamp Creek on a hump, still looking for them on a moving bait and checking out some deeper water to do that with.
Going to deep water, we're going big boy. Closest thing I got to an XD10. This is a 6th Sense actually. Booyakasha. We're pulling out the big guns tonight. That's what we got right there. Oh, goes right through the guides, no problem. And I'm actually short on line on this spool. I didn't get to the backing, but it was close. Ooh, we're gonna have to hold on here, boys. See if we can dig for it. The parabolic doo-doo stick special. Get her down there. Look at that bad boy. Look at the flex in that one. I better get the net out, because if I hook something out here, I mean, it could always be a pounder, but it could be a big stripe too.
And it was at this point that the receiver for my microphones snapped in half. So the rest of this footage, I'm going to be voicing over from the studio here. We're deep cranking on the most prominent hump, 2 coves up on the right, up from the mouth of Stamp Creek, and there should be a chart up on screen to illustrate where I'm talking about here. But we're searching some deeper water. We crank hard for a little bit. We don't turn anything up, and I head back out towards the mouth of Stamp. Remember how anything that could go wrong went wrong? Well, climbing into the driver's seat here, my foot clipped one leg of the tripod and actually snapped it in half entirely. So we dropped down to chest cam without the mics for the rest of the day. Anyways, back out to the mouth of Stamp. I pull up on the 2 most identifiable poles on this whole lake, which you can see here. And I'll put the chart up behind that. But we continue cranking. This is a big shoal, so it's a hump out where we're fishing. And then there's a small land bridge back to 2 poles in the back. So it is a high spot that runs all the way out from shore. And we're out smack dab in the middle of the lake where McCaskey and Stamp come together. So you're watching me here. I continue cranking. I pull an enormous wad of used fishing line out that I dredged up with the deep diver. I don't think anybody really sets out to lose that on purpose, but you know, that sucks. I try to pull that out of the lake when I get a hold of it. We are blazing through this because it didn't work out, but hopefully knowing what not to do and what's not working is at least some help, if not as much as what is working. But wait, what about those 2 poles that were back there? We're going to move up towards them and just work our way up the land bridge until we get up to the back shoal poles in a little bit of shallower water. So we were just fishing poles that were out 20 to 30 feet of water. Actually, it did come up to 11 in one spot, I recall. But this front pole back here should come all the way up to about 4 or 5 feet. And we're going to just work our way up the depth incline, still throwing the cranker. Most of this time I am getting good digging bottom contact out of the crank. So like they say, if you ain't digging, you ain't cranking. But as we get up on this pole, it gets shallow enough finally that the deep crank is at risk of getting hung up and lost pretty bad. So I do set it down and swap over to the Carolina rig Senko and drag that across the tip of the shoal a few times. snap one leader off, so retied that real quick. Here's visual. That is what I'm putting on. It is that simple. Green pumpkin stickworm. And while that may not have paid off today, it does very shortly. Next video, in fact. So. And we're into the meat of the video. And it only took me about 5 minutes to get you here. I promised you I'd get the lizard out. We've been throwing at this shoal for probably the last 20, 30 casts. Longer if you count the main poles out in the center of the creek. But even this shoal, we ran the crank down it. We ran the sea rig down it and fished it out pretty solid. So that just goes to show you they can be picky sometimes because it takes what? This is first cast, lizard's in, on the reef pole, and we'll see what happens. Excuse me, actually, make that the second cast.
Just got my skirt pulled down. They're here. I know they're here, and the lizard drives them crazy.
And literally the next cast.
That's a good fish. Surf him, surf him, surf him, surf him. Come here, boy. Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
I bumped the mic levels in post just a little bit, but the fact that you could even hear me at all on that microphone, that just goes to show you how pumped I was about this one. After it had probably been an hour and a half, maybe 2 total out there.
Come on! That's a good fish right there, boys.
.13, that's a pretty solid spot for Allatoona. So that was 2 short strikes and the bite that I landed him on in 2 casts. So of course I'm going to get back in there. Clearly they're there and eating, and that just goes to show that was the shoal that I covered with a couple other baits beforehand. So the lizard is doing work out here. We're going to put a timer up for this one, because if you ever wonder, hey, am I fishing too slow? The answer is no. Yes, that's right. That is a 3-minute cast. Fish it all the way back to the boat, and we're on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right in the roof of the mouth, right where you want to get him. Oh, coming out through.
That's another one in the boat for the pre-spawn lizard.
Relax, fucker. I'm gonna let you loose. Very nice.
Just a little guy. I think he came out to 13.5 inches. Threw a couple more on that shoal, but it's funny how if you catch one or two there, it seems to break up the school. So then we rolled into Red Top to pick up Senior and Red, and we snuck back up to the mouth of Stamp to the big hard point on the left side, and the chart should be up on the screen. Still chucking the deep crank here. I am really working this thing.
Very nice.
But we give it up, and we pick up our tried and true lizard. Stopped to take these pictures of a couple turkey buzzards because they were tucked up in a little cave. And there he is flapping his wings. And that was real time, by the way. This video stream was playing in the background behind those photos. So put that rod down for about 20, 30 straight seconds. Oh, right. He's on there.
Oh no, I can't see him. Yeah. Oh, it came off.
And he's off. That was a halfway decent one. Lost him right under the boat. Probably didn't get the hook set well. But that was because he had picked it up and was kind of swimming with it while I messed around with the turkey buzzards. So never discount the dead stick. They'll get you when you're not looking for them.
Well, he came right out of that cut. We're on the shoal flat. You just have to leave it there. I kind of thought, too, when I stopped to take that picture, I thought I was going to maybe leave one there long enough to get on.
What a surprise. We returned to a watchable speed looking at a timber laydown. No, wait. I didn't quite finish with that. Let me get one more in there up by the base of the tree. Senior throws directly into my line. Doesn't matter. Fish on.
Yeah, I do. Halfway decent one, too. No, just a little guy.
And that, my friends, is an elusive Allatoona Largemouth. I am told they're getting more common in here, but catching one this far down a creek, especially during spawn, is a bit of a rarity. So we fished it out on up into Gatewood, and I got maybe a couple more bites in the timber. It got real windy out there, so it began to be a little touchy on the feel. Put Senior on one good 1 pound-ish spot. He had been due. That was about time. So was glad to put him on a fish. Lizard paid dividends. It did its job today. That's a pretty successful day out on tuna. Worked hard for it. Fought through the video equipment mishaps, so thanks for bearing with me on that. And I've got some extra special footage in store for you guys. We took a trip last weekend, so I'm going to have that out as soon as I can. We've put out about enough video of the 1 pound Allatoona Spot Brigade, so it was time to go hunting for some lunkers. And I hope you'll tune in for that. Thanks for watching. Keep ripping lips.